Stage lights flooded George Ramirez, illuminating him against the backdrop of an electric crowd. Cheers surged like a wave, enveloping him in a cocoon of adoration. He stood poised with his guitar, the weight of it both comforting and suffocating. As he strummed the opening chords of his song, his voice surged through the air, painting tales of love, loss, and the winding roads of life. Yet, amidst the thrill of performing, George felt an echo of emptiness deep within. The faces of fans reflected joy, but behind the vibrant lights, he struggled with the shadows of regret. Memories of missed dinners, laughter once shared, and a daughter who had grown up in his absence plagued his thoughts. Sophia. She would be 16 now, a young woman with a world of potential. As he launched into another verse, the sound of a ringing phone sliced through the music. He recognized the number instantly. Sophia. His heart raced. She rarely called. Something was wrong. "Dad!" Her voice crackled with urgency, thin with emotion. "Please, you need to come to the hospital. It's the baby. He's really sick." The words hit him like a sledgehammer, knocking the air from his lungs. His grandson, a child he had never held. Panic and guilt swarmed him, darkening the vibrant stage around him. Sophia's plea echoed in his mind, a reminder of all the choices that had led to this moment. "Just get here." Her plea sent a wave of crushing shame over him. George had let her down, and now in an instant, the weight of his failures loomed larger than ever. "I'll be there," he finally uttered, though the words felt inadequate, hollow against the urgency of her need. After hanging up, the applause faded into silence, a stark reminder of his detachment. No longer the adored performer, he was simply a man grappling with the fallout of years of neglect. He lowered his guitar, feeling the cool wood against his skin like an anchor pulling him down. The audience's cheers echoed emptily. He couldn't share in their joy. Those bright lights now cast shadows on a past he couldn't escape, a past filled with long-forgotten family dinners and birthday parties he had chosen to skip. Moving off stage, he felt an overwhelming gravity in his chest. This was no longer just about a concert or fame. He had to face Sophia, the daughter who needed him, the one he had abandoned for the life of a star. The thought of the hospital, the sterile hallways where fear mingled with hope loomed ahead. In this moment of lonely resolution, he vowed to himself that he would amend the broken paths of his life. He would face the daughter he had failed, and maybe, just maybe, he could forge a new beginning, not just as a singer but as a father. As he stepped into the night, George felt the stirrings of a song waiting to be sung, a melody of redemption that would bridge the distance between him and the family he longed to reclaim. In silence, he took a deep breath, ready to reclaim his heart's true rhythm. The drive to the hospital felt endless, the city's bright lights blurring as George navigated the streets that now felt foreign. His thoughts turned inward, propelled by memories that had long been buried beneath the weight of his fame. Each red light brought him back. Each moment felt like a whisper from the past. He remembered the warm nights spent on the porch, the sound of crickets mingling with the sweet strum of his guitar. Sophia, a little girl then, would dance under the stars, twirling in joy as he sang her favorite songs. Her laughter sparkled like the fireflies that flitted around them, a sound that now echoed in the hollow corners of his heart. The family dinners were a blur, laughter shared over tacos, plates clinking, and the aroma of his mother's cooking filling the air. How often he had taken those moments for granted. As the stars rose higher in the sky, Sophia had shared dreams of becoming a singer, just like him, her eyes shining with hope. He had promised her that they would share the spotlight one day, but somewhere along the way those dreams had slipped through his fingers. His mind drifted to the day he received the call that changed everything, the music executive offering him a record deal. That moment felt like destiny, a promise of fame, but the cost weighed heavily upon him. As he left for tours, each goodbye had pulled at his heartstrings, yet he convinced himself that success would work as a balm for his family. How naive he had been. With every milestone celebrated on stage, he had stayed blissfully unaware of the emotional chasm widening between him and Sophia. Photos of her life appeared on social media. Prom night, graduation day, each image a reminder of an absent father, the breadcrumbs of family milestones lingering in the digital realm, leaving him to piece together the puzzle from afar. Suddenly, a siren wailed, jolting him from his reverie, and he realized he was close. The hospital loomed ahead like a monolith, fluorescent lights flickering against the night sky. He parked and stepped out of the car, heart racing, uncertainty gnawing at his gut. The sterile scent of antiseptic filled the air as he entered the building, each step echoing through the sterile hallways. As he made his way to the waiting area, he spotted Sophia sitting in a corner, her face hidden behind her hands. A tight knot formed in his chest. He wanted to run to her and comfort her, but hesitated. What could he say that would make things right? "Dad?" Her voice was raw, lifting her head to meet his gaze. The anger in her eyes was unmistakable, a tempest that mirrored the pain of years lost. "Sophia," he breathed, taking a cautious step forward. He wanted to reach out, to bridge the chasm between them, but the anger hung heavy in the air like a storm cloud. "I didn't think you'd actually come," she said, her tone clipped. "You always have more important things to do, don't you?" Her words cut deep, and he felt every ounce of the failure he had carried for years. "Save it," she snapped, rising from her chair. "You don't get to walk in here and act like you care. You weren't there for me and now you want to be here for your grandson. Isn't that too late?" George lowered his gaze, shame washing over him. "I messed up, Sophia, I know that. I can't change the past, but I want to try for you and him," Sophia scoffed, wiping at her tears. "Try? You've had years to try and all I got was silence and a voice on the radio. You don't even know his name, do you?" The words pierced through him, igniting something deep inside. I want to learn," he said, the urgency in his voice rising. "What's his name?" "His name is Noah," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. The softness in it struck him, revealing the love underneath her pain. With silent understanding, he stepped closer, finally bridging the gap that had stood between them for too long. "Noah, that's a beautiful name. I want to be here for both of you. I promise to learn, even if it takes time." Before she could respond, Ethan emerged from the hallway wearing scrubs stained with worry. He looked between them, a protective energy radiating off him. "Sophia, we need to go to the NICU now," he said gently. George's breath caught in his throat. "What's happening?" Ethan's eyes held a mixture of concern and resolve. "Noah is stable for now, but he's fighting. You might need to make a choice, George. This isn't just about you, it's about being there for them." The mantle of fatherhood returned to him, more complex now than he ever imagined it could be. "I won't let you down this time, Sophia," he declared, meeting her gaze. The momentum of the moment swelled with raw vulnerability, the air electric with unspoken understanding. Sophia looked at him, and for the first time the walls between them seemed to tremble. "You better mean that," she replied, and the challenge hung in the air, a fragile thread pulling them closer amid the storm. As they followed Ethan down the harrowing hallways, George felt the heartbeat of a new beginning stirring within him, a chance to rewrite their story with love, patience, and hope. The sterile chill of the NICU wrapped around George as he stepped into the room, the fluorescent lights casting a harsh light over everything. Machines beeped softly, punctuating the quiet, underscoring the fragility of life within those walls. His heart raced at the sight of Noah, swaddled and vulnerable, lying in the incubator, a world of tubes and monitors surrounding him. This was his grandson, and with each tiny rise and fall of his chest, George felt an overwhelming surge of emotion. Sophia moved next to him, her hand pressed against the glass, eyes locked on her son. "He's so small," she whispered, the anguish evident in her voice while her fingers trembled. George reached for her, but the familiar walls of their strained relationship still felt insurmountable. His mind swirled with regret as he watched Sophia navigate her world as a new mother. "I thought I could just make it right," he murmured, each word laced with a desperation for connection. "I want to be part of this, part of your life. You deserve better than silence." Sophia turned to him, her eyes flecked with sadness and anger. "You want to be involved now, after all these years? It's not that simple, Dad." The bitterness in her tone cut through him, exposing the wounds he had never tended to. "I know it's not. I can't change the past, but I can try to be here now," he implored, stepping closer. "I want to learn how to be a grandfather, to be there for Noah. He deserves that." "Noah deserves a dad, not a voice on the radio," she shot back, her frustration bubbling over. George felt the weight of her words, resonating with the hole he had dug through his absence. "You missed my milestones, and I don't want Noah to be another line in a song you couldn't sing." "I know I've made mistakes," he said, his voice cracking slightly, "but I won't walk away again. I'm here now, in this moment, and I want to help you. I want to share the load." Sophia's silence hung heavy in the air as she considered him. "It's not just about showing up, it's hard work," she said, and there was a trembling courage in her voice. "I've done this alone. You can't just come back and expect everything to be okay." "I'm willing to put in the effort," George replied, desperation seeping into his tone. "To be present for you both. I owe you that much." As they stood together, the sound of machines became a steady backdrop, a reminder of both hope and fear. Sophia's fingers brushed against the glass again, the connection to Noah creating a bridge of understanding. "I need more than words, Dad. I need actions," she finally said, her voice softer. "I can do that," he affirmed, stepping up to her. "I want to be part of his life, Sophia. I want to show you that I mean it." Just then, a nurse entered, bringing a wave of professional calm to the charged atmosphere. "Visiting hours are somewhat flexible today," she informed them. "If you'd like to hold him, we can prepare you for that." Sophia's eyes brightened, then quickly dimmed with apprehension. Hold him. The idea seemed both thrilling and terrifying. "We can do this together," George offered gently, feeling the moment stretching before them like an untraveled road. "You guide me." With a deep breath, Sophia nodded. The nurse skillfully explained the procedure, allowing them to prepare. George felt a rush of warmth at the idea of actually holding his grandson, connecting physically with his new family, a tangible bond that had been largely absent in his life up until now. As they made their way closer to the incubator, Sophia took a step back, signaling George to move forward first. He delicately took Noah into his arms, feeling the weight of the tiny bundle settle against him. The warmth radiated from the infant, a flicker of life grounding him in this moment. "I'm here, little man," George whispered, every protective instinct flooding his mind. He locked eyes with Sophia, sensing a shift in her demeanor. "I promise I'll be here for both of you. I'll learn to be the father and grandfather you deserve." Sophia's gaze softened and some of the anger melted away. "You're holding my whole world in your arms," she murmured, stepping closer now. "If you truly mean what you say, then show us. Be that person." George nodded, feeling something awakening inside him, a desire to fully grasp this role that had been offered to him. With each heartbeat, he began to understand that love meant showing up, not just in words, but in unwavering commitment. As the hours turned into a quiet vigil, George felt a sense of peace settle over him, driving away the loneliness that had trailed him for too long. They formed a tentative bond against the backdrop of uncertainty, a fragile thread beginning to weave their lives back together. This was the rebirth he had long sought. No longer just a name in a song, he was a grandfather, fighting for his place in a loving family. Through the small miracle in his arms, George found a reason to believe, an opportunity for atonement, and a chance to build a legacy grounded in love. The early morning sun filtered into the NICU, casting a soft glow over everything, and bringing with it a sense of renewal. George held Noah gently against his chest, the warmth and fragility of the baby igniting feelings he had long buried. He could hear the rhythmic beeping of the monitors, serving as a steady reminder of the fight ahead. At that moment, every struggle felt worthwhile. Sophia watched her father with cautious optimism, keeping a watchful eye on the tenderness with which he cradled her son. "You're a natural," she remarked, a small smile breaking through the tension that had defined their earlier interactions. "He feels safe with you." "Good," George replied, his heart swelling. "That's what I want. I want him to know he's got someone in his corner." As they settled into a comfortable rhythm, George felt a shift within himself. For the first time in years, the shadow of his performance-driven life fell away, leaving space for something beautiful to take root. Perhaps this was the redemption he had been searching for all along, a chance to be present, to build bridges where there once was only distance. Days turned into weeks and George spent every spare moment at the hospital. He learned the intricacies of Noah's care, how to change a diaper, how to hold him lightly yet securely, and even how to soothe him with a gentle lullaby. Each lesson became an act of love, a testament to his commitment to this new chapter. During their quiet moments together, Sophia would often sit nearby, her presence a comforting reassurance. They shared small stories about their lives, inching toward a newfound intimacy. George discovered the struggles Sophia faced, the long nights of hope tinged with fear, and the sacrifices she had made to bring Noah into the world. In turn, he shared bits of his own journey, the loneliness of the road, the cost of fame, and the ache of missed moments. I kept thinking success would bring me happiness, he confided one evening, watching Sophia as she rocked Noah softly, her gaze fixated on the baby's peaceful face. But what's the point of all that if I don't get to share it with the people I love? Sophia looked at him, a flicker of understanding lighting her eyes. We all make mistakes, Dad. I know it's hard to face the choices you've made, but it's what you do now that matters most. With Sophia's encouragement, George even began to write again, crafting songs infused with deeper meaning. The melodies flowed like honey from his fingertips, inspired by the love blossoming before him. Far from the familiar themes of lost love and heartache, these songs spoke of hope, family and redemption, of a grandfather's promise to be present. He started playing them for Noah during their quiet moments, the sound echoing in the sterile environment like a gentle caress. Each note felt like a vow, a promise steeped in sincerity to provide a loving legacy. He could envision a future filled with laughter, family gatherings, and memories that celebrated life instead of highlighting absence. One evening, as he played softly and Sophia hummed along, the hustle of the hospital outside faded away. In that cocoon of sound and warmth, George glimpsed the life he had long detached himself from, a life he could return to if only he had the strength. But challenges still lurked in the shadows. The doctors had warned them that Noah would face developmental delays due to his premature birth, adding layers of intricate uncertainty to their lives. There were moments when the weight of it all nearly crushed Sophia, forcing her to retreat into herself. George recognized the signs, watching helplessly as her fierce dedication to be a mother clashed with the nagging specter of her own anxiety. "Let's go for a walk," George suggested one day, sensing her weariness. The sun cast a warm glow as they strolled through the nearby park, the vibrant colors of spring bursting all around them. "I don't know if I can do this," she confessed as they stopped by a bench, watching children play in the distance, their laughter seeming to taunt her. "What if he struggles in school? What if I fail him?" George took a deep breath, recalling his own struggles and fears. "No one is perfect, Sophia. I wish I could promise that every moment will be easy, but that's not how life works." He paused, finding the courage within to reach out. "But you won't be alone in this. You have me now. We'll figure it out together." One hand clasped around hers, anchoring her in the shared understanding that they were no longer isolated from each other. "I'm here," he promised again, the sincerity in his tone filling the space between them. "And I'll be here every step of the way for you and Noah." As they returned home, Sophia's gaze held a semblance of gratitude, that spark of hope beginning to glimmer anew. The days progressed and both George and Sophia worked together, collaborating on infant care plans, attending doctor's appointments, and forging a sense of teamwork that had long been missing. George gradually came to understand that this journey required more than merely showing up. It demanded a leap of faith in their shared commitment. They created a family of sorts, redefining what that meant, layer by layer, moment by moment. On a quiet night when the stars twinkled overhead, George took out his guitar and began playing the songs he had written. As the melodies filled the air, Sophia joined him, their voices blending together, an improvised duet weaving dreams into music. Through the music, George articulated his feelings for the first time, his love for Noah, his renewed connection with Sophia, and the joy entwined with fear. They sang together, the notes ascendant and bright, echoing through the night like an unbreakable bond being fashioned anew. Noah's soft coos accompanied the song, an affirmation of hope, filling the cracks of the past with a warm light, a light that promised a future bursting with potential. In the heart of that music, George found the rebirth he had sought, the chance to rewrite the end of his story surrounded by love. As notes continued to resonate, he understood this was just the beginning, with challenges ahead, certainly, but also the promise of a deeper connection and a home built on love, hope, and hard-won redemption. As weeks turned into months, George settled into a steady presence in Sophia and Noah's lives. Their small apartment buzzed with laughter, music, and the daily challenges of raising a newborn. Yet, beneath the pleasant facade, an undercurrent of tension began to rise. Sophia juggled her long shifts at the hospital while trying to foster a nurturing environment for Noah, a delicate balancing act that often left her exhausted. George watched her fatigue deepen day by day, feeling helpless to ease her burden. Every attempt he made to support her appeared overshadowed by the weight of past disappointments. One evening, As Sophia hunched over the kitchen table, her head resting on her arms, George couldn't suppress his concern any longer. "Sophia, are you all right?" he asked tentatively. She lifted her head slowly, fatigue etched into her features. "I'm fine," she replied half-heartedly, but the tremor in her voice betrayed the truth. "You don't look fine. You've been working too hard. Maybe we need to rethink this schedule." His heart ached to see her struggling. With an exasperated sigh, Sophia pushed her chair back, the noise cutting through the air like a knife. "You don't understand, Dad. I can't just take a break. Everything is piling up on me," she cried, the floodgates of frustration released. "You think being here is enough, but it's not. I feel like I'm drowning." George stepped back, taken aback by the raw intensity of her emotions. "I'm trying to help. You don't have to do this alone. I'm committed to being here for you and Noah." "I don't want your pity," she fired back, her voice sharp and unyielding. "I want someone who truly understands the weight of this life, not just someone who strums a guitar and thinks everything will magically work out." Her words cut deep, crashing against his chest like a wave. "I'm not trying to be a hero," he replied gently but firmly. "I want to be part of this. Just let me in, please. We can face this together." Silence fell between them, thick and palpable, revealing the deep fissures that had yet to heal. "You don't know what it's like. The sleepless nights, the constant worry," Sophia said, her voice breaking. "All those moments I wished you were there." "I'm not leaving again, Sophia. I promise," George insisted, earnestness gripping his heart. "Promises aren't enough," she murmured, a tremor of insecurity running through her. In that moment, George realized that merely being present wouldn't erase the past or the hurt she carried. He had to show her he was committed to not just existing in their lives, but also supporting them in a way that would truly make a difference. Days turned into weeks, and tension continued to linger. George resolved to help more, taking care of Noah during evenings when Sophia had late shifts. Each day felt like a balancing act, trying to alleviate her burdens while confronting his own fears of inadequacy. Would he become the disappointment he had tried so hard to escape? One evening, consumed by concern for Sophia, George suggested, "How about we take Noah for a walk in the park tomorrow? The weather is nice and you could use a break." Sophia furrowed her brow, hesitating. "I don't know, I'm just so overwhelmed." "Please," he urged, "you deserve some fresh air and time to breathe. Let's make it a family outing." With a reluctant sigh, Sophia finally relented. "All right, but it better be easy." The next day dawned bright and cheerful, inviting them out into the world. George felt a hopeful flutter in his chest as they arrived at the park, its colors vibrant and alive with spring. The sunny day seemed a perfect backdrop. As they spread a blanket beneath a leafy tree, George carefully placed Noah on the blanket, watching as Sophia settled down next to them. Surveying the laughter and playful energy around them, he began to relax as he absorbed the scene around him. "What a beautiful day, huh?" he said, grinning as he softly bounced Noah on his knee. However, the moment of peace was soon interrupted as a fellow parent approached with shared experiences, discussing their own challenges of parenthood. "It's tough navigating it all, isn't it?" they remarked, eyes glistening with understanding. The sleepless nights, the relentless worries. George noticed Sophia's expression change, shadows passing over her sunny demeanor. "Yeah, it's really tough," she replied, her tone growing dim. Sensing the familiar tension resurface, George reached for her hand. "Sophia, we can handle this," he said softly. "I'm here." But she shook her head, defiance flickering in her gaze. "What if he has delays? What if I can't manage?" The fear that had been festering in her heart surged forth, raw and unfiltered. Understanding the weight of her fear, George steeled himself. "You don't have to bear this burden alone. I'm committed to being with you in this fight. I won't let you down," he insisted, hope mingling with vulnerability as he spoke. Her frustration began to soften, a flicker of uncertainty surfacing. "I want to trust you," Sophia admitted, her voice breaking. "But the fear keeps holding me back." George pressed his hand over hers, a silent promise resonating between them. "Then let's take it step by step. We'll figure it out as a family." The honest warmth in his words lingered in the air, their connection strewn with the remnants of hope. As the day blossomed, laughter returned. They began sharing stories of their fears, but also their dreams. George could feel a shift as they let go of the past, allowing the sunlight to seep through the cracks of their hearts. With Noah laughing in their arms, they began to dismantle the walls that had stood between them. For the first time, George felt ready to face the uncertainties ahead, certainty forming a bridge between them, together. The following weeks unfolded like the blooming flowers of spring, revealing the intricate beauty of their shared journey. There were still challenges. No wrong could be unmade overnight, nor was life an easy path to tread, but George and Sophia had begun to cultivate a new understanding. Laughter became a familiar sound in their home, intertwining with the delicate coos of little Noah, a reminder that even amid chaos, joy could flourish. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow through the kitchen window, George prepared dinner. It was simple fare, a spaghetti dish that Sophia loved. He whistled softly, lost in the melody, the warmth of the evening wrapping around him like a comforting blanket. "Wow, it smells great in here!" Sophia's voice broke into his musical thoughts, filling the room with a gentle familiarity. She entered, wearing scrubs, her hair pulled back in a hasty bun. The day's stress seemed to wash over her as the scent enveloped her. "It's your favorite," George beamed, turning to face her. "Thought we could have a little family dinner tonight, just us three." Softening, her fatigue began to lighten. "You're incredible. I won't even ask how you managed." She leaned against the counter, her heart warming at the sight of Noah happily bouncing in his high chair, eyes glimmering with anticipation. As they sat around the dinner table, the atmosphere light and humorous, George felt a sense of normalcy settling in. They shared stories about their days, Sophia's encounters with patients, the trials of motherhood, and George's attempts to juggle responsibilities like diaper changes, baths, and mealtime. "Remember that time Noah spit up all over your shirt in the middle of the grocery store?" Sophia laughed, a bright sparkle returning to her eyes as she recounted the chaotic moment. "I felt like such a rookie," George chuckled. "All the other parents must have thought I was some kind of amateur." "Maybe you were," Sophia teased, her laughter bubbling between them like effervescent champagne. George realized that the laughter they shared was a kind of breakthrough. Every joke, every shared moment chipped away at the walls still separating them. Yet, as the meal wound down and plates lay empty, tension returned, as if the laughter had merely masked the deeper worries that lingered beneath the surface. Sophia's smile faded as she broached a more serious topic. "What if we need to start considering therapy for Noah?" George's heart sank as he processed her words. A quiet dread hovered just out of reach of his mind, the thought that they might have to confront their vulnerabilities together. "Do you really think we have to?" he asked cautiously. She nodded, biting her lip. "I love him so much, and I just want what's best for him. We can't take any chances, especially if there's a chance he could struggle." He felt a weight settle over him. He wanted to support Sophia, but the prospect of therapy felt daunting. "I'm afraid too, but I trust you and whatever you think is best for Noah. I don't want you to feel pressured," she interrupted gently. "I want us to find a path forward together. I'm still scared, but I know we can face this." With her words, a flicker of determination ignited within George. He realized he hadn't truly acknowledged the gravity of their situation. This was not merely about him stepping in. It was about jointly nurturing their son and their family. That night he lay awake, the moonlight casting elongated shadows across the walls. He stared at the ceiling, reflecting on the lives they were building and the difficulties that loomed. The weight of worry nagged at him, the desire to be an unwavering support for Sophia, to protect Noah, to be more than just a presence. In the days that followed, they together navigated the complexities of seeking therapy for Noah. It felt like entering a new, unfamiliar world, their lives intertwined with the appointment schedules, evaluations, and the fear of the unknown. But as they walked this path, they began to see glimmers of clarity in their combined strength. One Friday evening, after yet another long day, they sat on the porch, the night set against a backdrop of stars. Tension floated in the air, but they remained side by side, comfortable in their silence. "I often thought family was simply about blood ties," George spoke quietly, breaking the stillness. "But it's really about the courage to support one another, isn't it?" Sophia turned to him, her gaze steady. "I think you're right. It's about bringing our fears and hopes together, supporting each other, even when it feels tough. Promise me we'll keep doing this no matter what," he said, vulnerability lacing his tone. "I don't want us to stop reaching out for each other." "We'll keep moving forward," she assured him, her voice warm. "We're not alone." As they spoke, Noah gurgled in the background, a gentle reminder of the love between them and the life they were nurturing. With each passing day, challenges arose, but George felt a growing sense of resilience forming between them, a bond solidified by the courage to face their fears, to confront past wounds, and to forge a new path toward family. In that tranquil moment beneath the stars, George realized he was no longer just a father, but also a partner, an ally in the journey of healing, love, and growth. And together, they would continue to build a future that embraced all their uncertainties, united by the very core of their spirits. As the months passed, George and Sophia navigated the challenges of parenthood, growing closer with every step. Therapy for Noah had become a part of their routine, appointments that filled them with apprehension, but also buoyed their spirits with hope. Each session revealed progress, and their commitment to each other as a family deepened. What once felt daunting was now part of the fabric of their lives. One sunny afternoon, while wandering through the park, George pushed Noah's stroller as Sophia walked beside him. Children played nearby, laughter ringing in the air like music. A sense of contentment washed over George as he watched his son's wide-eyed curiosity. "Look at all the other kids," he said, grinning down at Noah. "Soon, you'll be out there playing with them." "Can you imagine?" Sophia replied with a laugh, the worry of past days fading. "Just think of how much fun he'll have." As they enjoyed the beautiful day, Sophia's phone buzzed. "It's Noah's therapist," she said, her voice colored with excitement. She read the message aloud, revealing encouraging updates about their son's development. "Wow, he's hitting new milestones," George exclaimed, heart bursting with pride. "All of our hard work really is paying off." Sophia squeezed his hand. "We did this together. I couldn't have done it without you." As twilight descended, they settled on their porch swing, the world around them slowing. George picked up his guitar, the familiar weight grounding him. He strummed softly, letting the notes fill the air while the soothing rhythm mimicked the heartbeat of their lives woven together. "You know," he began, turning towards Sophia, "when we started this journey, I thought family was just about blood, but it's so much more. It's about being there day in and day out, wrestling with fears and celebrating victories." Sophia leaned into him, her head resting on his shoulder. "I've learned that love is in the little things. Every hug, every shared smile, even the tears. We're building something beautiful, and it's not just for Noah but for us too." George nodded, feeling clarity wash over him. "We've faced challenges, but they've made us stronger. We're learning from each other." Just as he finished his thought, Noah stirred in his crib inside. They both listened to the sounds of their son softly cooing, a beautiful symphony that resonated with their hearts. Sophia lifted her head, gazing at George with newfound determination. "Promise me we'll never stop reaching out for each other." "Always," he vowed, the sincerity in his voice bringing a smile to her face. "No matter what life throws at us." As they resumed playing music, their voices intertwined with the notes, creating a soundtrack of love and reassurance. And amidst the music and laughter, George felt confident, embracing the future. The uncertainties that lay ahead transformed into opportunities for growth and connection. In that moment, he knew they had forged a bond that was unbreakable. They were partners in the truest sense, ready to face the world together, guided by love and dedication. As the last notes lingered, they nestled closer together, the warmth of their family wrapping around them. Each day was a step in a new direction, united by the faith that together they could embrace whatever challenges might come. With stars twinkling above as their witnesses, George and Sophia understood that the journey was not just about survival, it was about thriving as a family, rooted in love and the promise of tomorrow. Through every season of their lives, they would continue to grow, guided by courage, hope, and an unwavering commitment to each other.